Thank you for joining me today. It's Brian Gubernick, and welcome to the No Days Off podcast, where we believe that every single day brings a new opportunity to get better. Just a few days ago, I interviewed an amazing human named Charlie Engle. Absolutely amazing story. Had a life that was down in the dumps, recovered and built something out of himself, and continues to build an amazing life. And I think we all can learn something from Charlie. If you haven't listened to that episode, make sure you go back to the beginning of the week. And I have an hour-long, long-form interview with Charlie. And if you've been following along all week, which many of you I know have, on the episode after that long-form interview with Charlie, as well as yesterday's episode, we did a little bit deeper dive into some of the concepts that Charlie discussed. Well, today I have one final episode to talk about a few things that we learned from Charlie. And that lesson today, the thing we're going to lean into today, is this idea that we have to change our relationship to pain. It's about embracing discomfort and how when we embrace discomfort, it turns struggle, I think, into strength. Now, in the interview I did with Charlie, he told a pretty funny story about when he went running with Matt Damon. Yes, that Matt Damon. If you haven't listened to the episode, again, go back and do it. But Matt Damon, who he had partnered with on the Running the Sahara adventure, specifically because Matt Damon has a huge charity around water, bringing water to these underdeveloped countries. And so Charlie went out and ran with Matt Damon. Matt Damon had also partnered with him in producing the documentary. And after a 10-mile or so run with Matt said, "Hey, I can't keep up with you," and said something to the effect of, "That was freaking hard." And Charlie said, "Nah, I don't know if that's the case. I think you just have to change your relationship to pain." And that simple statement, that powerful statement, is a statement that's usually misunderstood by most people. Matt ended up telling that story and that line, "You just have to change your relationship to pain." According to Charlie, he told it everywhere. So I want to talk about this line today. Why pain isn't really the problem, it's just a signal. And the people who succeed, in my opinion, those that endure and those that build and those that evolve, they're not avoiding pain, they're actually inviting it in. See, I think there's this, call it pain paradox. Most people believe that pain means something's wrong. Yes, I understand that from time to time. When you feel pain, something is in fact wrong. So I'm not your doctor here, right? I'm not your psychologist here, but pain is not always a signal that something is wrong. For high performers, I think a lot of high performers I know, when they think that when they feel pain or when they think around pain, they don't think something's wrong. What they think is, I'm in the arena. Like, it's game time. This is par for the course. Pain is just part of the process. It's not a detour. It's not a red flag. It's actually a companion of sorts. Charlie talks about running 35 marathons in 35 months or whatever he had done. And he did it not because he loved the suffering. He did it because he learned how to coexist with it. It's impossible to not have pain running a marathon a month for 3 years. He just learned how to coexist with that pain. He didn't resist it. He didn't panic. He just leaned into it. When you change your relationship with pain, I think you stop needing constant comfort. I think you start seeing challenge as transformation. And I think you break the addiction to easy, right? Like I was to use air quotes, right? Breaking the addiction to easy. There's also this finish line fallacy. Like if there's the pain paradox, there's a finish line fallacy. Charlie talks about, and I loved this. This was so basic yet so profound. He talks about Ironman finishers and how they collapse at the finish line. Now, why do Ironman finishers collapse at the finish line? Yes, it's incredibly hard. But they collapse at the finish line because the finish line is where the brain allows the body to stop. But what he had said, what Charlie had shared that I got a kick out of, he had said something to the effect of, well, what happens when you move the finish line 100 yards? What would happen to that Ironman athlete? Well, they would keep going another 100 yards. And if you moved it another 100 yards beyond that, what would they do? They'd keep going to that next finish line. My takeaway was that pain is often negotiable. So your body obeys what your mind believes is necessary. Again, you get to a finish line and you collapse as if you can't take another step further. But if I had moved that finish line another 100 yards, you would have gotten there and done the same thing. I think this is why successful people keep extending the line. From 10 reps to say 12 reps, from 10 calls to 20 calls, from 1 million to 10 million. Lastly, I think that you can use pain as a training partner. If you want mental toughness, invite hard into your life. We just talked about that within the past week or two here at No Days Off as an episode. When you think about Charlie and his experience in federal prison, he told a great story that I get a kick out of. Maybe my favorite story of his, when he talks about running 135 miles around a prison yard. And he did it in cut-off sweats and duct tape shoes, no supplies, no fanfare, no gear, certainly no cheering section. Just a guy, his legs, and a decision to not let circumstances determine or dictate who he was. He had said, like, this is painful, but I'm not fragile. And I think that probably is a great definition or description as to that relationship shift that I'm talking about. So for you today or this week or this weekend, I want you to ask yourself, what's one hard thing you've been avoiding? What's one hard thing that you've been avoiding? Now I want you to ask, what if this pain isn't punishment, but it's preparation? Choose one discomfort to step toward in the coming days or in the weekend or the coming week. Maybe it's a financial decision that you've been pausing on. Maybe it's a sales call, a long run, a cold plunge, a hard conversation. I don't care what it is, but choose one discomfort to step toward in the coming days. And remind yourself, this isn't hurting me. This pain isn't hurting me. It's making me better. It's hardening me. When you change your relationship to pain, I think you stop shrinking from life and you start growing into the person that you truly were meant to become. That's all I have for you today, the No Days Off podcast. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, every single day brings a new opportunity to get better. So let's get after it.